Hello, crazy kids who want the crazy stuff. We're bringing you the crazy stuff. I'm just showing you because they hired me to make the video. Disclaimer. But they're the crazy people who think you need a fuzz going into a polyphonic pitch shifter, which is the Octa Psi. Octa Psi. The Octa Psi. The Octa Psi. Octa Psi. Octa. And then they underline it with transfigurating fuzz, which means absolutely nothing in musical terms, but you're buying it because you want to transfigurate. And who wouldn't? It's kind of like a retro vibe with all the red and the stuff. The Rockman, aka Robert Keeley, I kind of feel like his stuff is at home in any era. Whether you're doing Pink Floyd stuff, there's a pedal for that. You're doing modern stuff, there's a pedal for that. You're doing country stuff, there's a pedal for that. He's not really pigeonholing in any kind of style. And this is more experimental, indie. I mean, for example, Muse, just to throw out a band, would probably very much like to play this pedal. because Muse, as a band, would get sounds that Muse, as a band, would get out of this. And then their pedal would be a muse to them. That's a joke that nobody gets, but it's funny to me. So, let me turn the hello off. There's a hello on the table. Also a pedal that they made for the Timmins. On one side, we got a fuzz. 3 knobs. Doesn't really matter too much where you've got this. It's all... Okay, which is fine. Even here, it's... like that cat. Level, it's always loud. And tone, well, more top end, less low end. It's not just a top end roll off. It's more like a tilty kind of a thing. And then less and more on the other side.
More is more.
You know how fuzzes work, but we'll show you. There's a punch mode, a scoop mode, and a psi mode. I will read to you what they mean, because I only read it once. Scoop, standard scoop fuzz, as Scoop says. Punch, bass boosted. Psi, fuzz with maximum undertones instead of overtones. It means nothing. There are 3 different modes. They sound different. So we're going to have to consult the manual quite a bit. That's pretty straightforward, and you can turn that on and also off, because sometimes you want to turn a fuzz off because they are nasty. You can also turn it on and off with a remote switch if you have that in a looper switcher, and you can actually turn both sides on and off independently, so you can remote control it, as I said, from a looper switcher. So it is really 2 pedals in one that, have I said it, can be remote controlled, and that happens in the back. There's, of course, an input, there's an output, there's the 9-volt right there, can also be operated at 18 for more headroom. As always, the remote will operate these 2, and this we're going to pull out because this is a expression, which we're going to show you in a bit. It can also be a switch, which then controls the order, because it can be fuzz into octave or octave into fuzz. There's a whole backside with special modes and advanced things, which we're not going to go into that much, but a little bit. I'll at least tell you what they do, so you know if you have a special need that this thing has to fill. Why am I talking like that? I was very tired half an hour ago, and then I drank this liquid that someone gave me. It's very black and hot, and then all of a sudden I had energy. On the left side, well, now it's on the right side, Leslie. I said on the... we got a thing, an octave thing, but it's more than an octave. Down here, it's more like very closely chorusing, doubling, affecting. They're saying, detune. D, maybe it's a D and a tuning fork? Seconds, thirds, like when you have donuts. You always want seconds and thirds. Fourth, that's what happens when you have fourth. Fifth, sixth, 1 octave, 2 octaves. Now, a 5 kind of always works. You heard it beautifully in the track. A 4 works most of the time because it's kind of like a reversed 5. Now, thirds, you need major and minor. So that's a bit of an issue with a steady pitch. Same with seconds and with sixths. You can change them. So right now, let's say it would be major third. By pushing in the blend that has a double function, pushing it in, turning it all the way to the right, you all of a sudden hear it going to a minor. And now it should be major again. So you can get the other one, but you can't really go in the same lick between them, as far as I understand. Not even with the expression pedal, I think. But it is polyphonic, meaning the tracking happens on all strings and even for chords. Of course, within a chord, if you have 3 notes and you're then pitching all of them up a major third, you're transposing, you're not really staying in the same key. That's just not how it works. You can pitch up, pitch down, or up and down, in which case this becomes a kind of a blend, like that one more or that one more, the higher or the lower. On up, this would be dry. This would be fully blending it in, but I think your dry signal is not gone. That requires one of the special modes to kill the dry completely if you, for example, running a wet-dry rig. Should we go into the special stuff right now before we start playing and bore you to death with it? Yes. And then playing. It's coming. It's non-linear. It's YouTube. See the little dot down there? You take that and you move that to wherever you want. You can move that to where I shut up. Trust me, my wife would like that little dot in real life and just move it to where I shut up. You have that luxury. She doesn't. Pointing at her, she's up there switching. So that's a really cool dot to have, but it's, doesn't exist in real life. So there's also chapter marks. This is a boring chapter. The remote jack, we talked about it. Control jack, we talked about it. There's also special things you can do with these momentary stuff. Really cool. The effect order, yes, you can do fuzz into octave or octave into fuzz. And apparently you press and hold both switches. And now that's what's happening. Easy. Wet and dry or all wet. You can switch that by the pedal and read it. Doing stuff. Just know that you can. Volume tilt control. What I said, when you have it in dual, this becomes a tilt control. Right here you've got both pitches. Oh, there's a momentary function where you're holding in octave. So I'm reading, change between momentary and latching mode by pressing and holding the fuzz switch for 1 second. I hold the octave switch for 1 second several times. Being able to read and comprehend what you read is a very important skill that I do not possess. Now we have a momentary switch, which brings in the pitch. But that can actually be ramped up like you do in an expression pedal, and that can be set by something about doing by the blend, I think pushing blend control or something. So that's kind of cool too. So you have a momentary, let's say you play in the whoop and the whoop, and how long that whoop or whoop or whoop or whoop. You understand? The length can be determined. True or buzzer bypass and all those fun things. That's it. It's a fuzz. It's got polyphonic pitch, up or down or dual. Any pitch is possible. You have to switch between the majors or minors by holding this in and turning it to the right. And there's also special things and expression pedal, which I'll show you, etc., etc., etc. Now we go, and now we play it. We're gonna play it into the Tone King Royalist right there, and then some other amps. But I mean, it's a fuzz. It's gonna make everything scream and yell. This is a Sully 71 Trella, one of the most amazing guitars I ever owned. And you can say that's not true, but you'd be wrong. This is what it sounds like. I also have a hello on the table and an expression thing in front of the hello. This is actually the 901 sound fulcrum. So right now I've got it on that up and down is the expression. I could plug this into the other hole, and then left and right would be the expression. So this is a dual expression pedal, and you can actually control two different parameters. So you could go to a different pedal and say, this is your drive, or this is your modulation speed, while this is your pitch. And then a corner is a certain thing. This is very, very, very cool. Extremely nicely built in Germany by my friend Sonja Schellenberg. Beautiful, right? We're gonna change that very drastically. Valeria, are you behind the boba pillow?
Yep.
Are you hiding behind the boba pillow?
No, it's cold here.
Ah. So the differences between the different modes are subtle, but they are there, a little bit richer, a little bit. And then also, let's try it with the tone, because I think it reacts differently. So there you go. That's the fuzz side. Now we're going to go into the, let's call it octave side. We're going to start with the octave in up. That's what it sounds like. Now, it sounds, of course, artificial. It is digitally pitched up, but when you're doing that more subtle, so get the blend down. Get the hello on. I mean, I would have never played that, but 2 octaves lower and stuff. Now you kick in the octaves. There's a theme for the next Pink song. I can hear it. Also, Pink. Yeah, inspiring, that's what it is. It's kind of like you could say, what's another word for something that inspires you? That's a different video. Let's go to this mode, which is the detune mode. Really, really cool. Then I get the hello on. How did that F go again? Oh, like this. That's 80s heaven. So if I go to 2, number 2, this means poop. Well, everything is in seconds. I don't know why you would want that. Let's go to a minor second. Again, I don't know why you want that. Tuna, of course, can handle it. Ah, that guitar is amazing. So now we got a major second up. But now it's still mixed. So if you wanted to detune your guitar completely, you'd have to go into wet mode, no dry at all, and then you have the whole guitar pitched up. Maybe you wanted that for something. If we're doing up and down, you get the original, a major second, and a major second. So you're actually doing a cluster. That's jazz. I mean, you could do that somewhere if you do a momentary thing. It's kind of cool. If someone wanted that. So, same thing for the third. So if you're sticking to 1, 4, and 5, which is all major chords, it can work. That doesn't work. So if you're doing punk, that's cool. Of course, the 4 is more compatible. Not there, actually. What happens if I turn the thing? There's a chart in here that tells me things. So on the 4, the 4 goes to a major 7. The 5 goes to a minor 6, whereas the 6 goes to a flat 7. Interesting. So here's a 5. There's a song from that guy with the pointy guitar. Steve Vai, The Animal, that's all 5, but of course more subtle. Something like that, so that works. So consult the chart to get to the other pitches. That's what I'm trying to say. Of course, octaves is kind of... or lower. Very synthy, because the fuzz already brings that kind of pulse waviness to it, so it makes it very synthy and colder, I would say, in a good way. And then that digital pitching adds to that. And because it's polyphonic, you don't have to be super careful to mute your notes and only have one. Tracking is phenomenally good. And then of course you got 2 octaves. Satriani used a whammy on things and had these high octaves. Really, really cool stuff. So let's stick with the octave for now, and I'm going to show you the expression pedal. So I'm going to just stick that in. Again, with the fulcrum, I could control something else in the other direction, but we don't do that. So here's, now, it's fully down, and we're going to go up. Of course, you can do that with any of the pitches. And if you were doing an all wet, you would have kind of a whammy effect. I don't think necessarily that this is meant to replace a whammy because the whammy already exists. This is for the riff that you don't know yet that you will write. This is an inspiration machine. Kind of like it drives the... Let's not go there. It drives your inspiration. There's another word for that. It's horrible. But 5th is fun, and then you go to the Psi mode, crank the shit out of the fuzz, do this. Look, fun can be had. Okay, I'm not the biggest fuzz fan, but this is a controllable fuzz. It's you don't only have to play single notes. Oh, we have to send the thing into the other thing by doing the. So instead of right now, it's fuzz into octave, which is weird. How is it tracking? But octave into fuzz should be effect order. Press and hold both fuzz and octave switches. Now apparently we changed the effect order. Oh, by the way, we didn't even do up and down. Hold on! Sometimes it's just fun. Now, I can absolutely see this as an inspiration machine to write riffs that otherwise he wouldn't write. This is stuff that is a single note line. It wouldn't really do it for me. I love the detune mode. Let's make this bigger. I think we're done with this. We've played it way too much. Should we play this into different amps? No, it's a fuzz. It's just gonna go nuts in all of them. We're done. Wherever this is a subtle difference. The fuzz is always just and then slightly different ahs with this. But dual, up, down, this, remote, all the different options. We haven't even covered the momentary, which is pretty much what I did with the expression, but with a predetermined ramp time. This is not your always on pedal. No! But it's your, I wrote this riff with this sound, and it can only be done with that sound. Okay? So it's definitely a thing where you have an idea because of the gear. Idea gear. Some stuff like a Strat and a Plexi and an overdrive, replace them with whatever. With a Les Paul and a high watt and a different overdrive. And you're still gonna play the same kind of stuff, and you're gonna write the same kind of stuff on both. Some gear like this will steer you in a direction. I mean, you know, idea steer gear, kind of, like that's the idea. And then you gotta have to hold on to this because that's the thing that inspired the riff to begin with. And that's when in 20 years you see certain pedals on certain boards that can never go off them because they need it for that song. Octa Psi is one of those. Wouldn't be my first pedal to put on the table every day, to be fully honest. I guess you figure that out. But if I have a song that requires something special, or I'm stuck, especially if I'm stuck writing, I can't come up with a riff, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? Maybe put that on the table. That's all I gotta say. Don't know how much it is. I'm making this video 2 months before the pedal comes out. I'm ahead of time. And, like, I am the future. No, please turn this off now. It's just a guy rambling. I put links below, please use them. That really helps the channel. Thank you so much. And animals at the end.